Okay. All right, here we go. All right, I'm going to try and share my screen as well um, to see what we can do. I've got a presentation that I used almost a year ago. Can everyone see that? Can everyone see the screen?
Yep, there it is.
Yes.
I got it.
Yep. Hey, Maddie, you're on mute. Um,
Thumbs up.
okay, so I can't see what everyone you guys are saying, but if you guys have any questions or whatever, feel free to do so. This is a presentation um, uh, that I did just over a year ago. And so this is going to be a similar background. So obviously it's at April 8th, 2020. Now it's April 18th, 2021. And we will, there'll be some slight adjustments from what is on here compared to what the current situation is. But we'll go over a similar type thing. So if we were meeting outdoors in person, obviously I wouldn't have had this PowerPoint presentation, but I'd be going over similar topics. So we'll just go over that. So again, we'll go ahead and get this party started now, if that's all good with everyone. Okay, the only person I can see, by the way, is Christy. So, Christy, if you see anyone else and feel like we need to slow down, just let me know. Okay.
Yeah, gotcha. Gotcha.
So,
Okay.
okay, you guys know who I am. Jefferson Robley, college soccer director. I've been fortunate enough to be around soccer for a whole long time. I've been coaching college soccer since 2006, but I've been coaching college age kids since I want to say 2001, and just been in all levels. I'm currently the assistant coach for women's soccer at Kansas City, Kansas Community College. We're a very good junior college program. Currently 6-0 and ranked number 12, moving on up in the nation. So, gotta get that out of the way so I don't talk about too much, but we're doing well. We're in the middle of our season right now. Okay, so um, take notes, ask questions. If you want, we're recording this right here, but if you want to take photos of anything that you see so you can look at more specifically, feel free to do that. Obviously, you can reach me on my Sporting Missouri Valley email address or on my cell phone number, 816-213-1876. All of you have that. Okay, so again, let's take notes when we're talking here. I want you to have questions at the end when we talk here. And sometimes we'll change topics. I don't want you to forget about some questions that you have earlier in the presentation. Okay, obviously, want you to ask questions. Okay, so when we talk about you guys being here and going on, being a part of this Zoom is you're getting ahead, you're taking action. That's always going to be extremely important. Is being active in the whole process. It's going to be important that you are constantly going to be a part of it. So the student athletes that wait for the colleges to approach them are going to not have quite the attention they want to have or may have limited options if they have options at all. So being aggressive is always good. Okay. There's lots of colleges that around the country that you can pick from. So there's colleges on the East Coast. Okay. There's colleges on the West Coast. You have colleges in the Midwest. Okay. I think this is Harvard, this is Stanford, and this is the University of Tulsa, where I actually went. My freshman and sophomore dorm room, in case you're curious, is right there. Anyway, but there's lots of good colleges in the region you want to go for academics as well as soccer. This is Creighton University in Omaha, Nebraska. They have one of the better college soccer stadiums in the country. My brother is the head coach at Benedictine College, which is an NAI program in Atchison, Kansas. They have a really good small school college stadium, really good stuff. This is Clemson University, well supported. You can tell this is over a year ago because I would have KCK Community College. We've got a nice place. Anyway, here's what we're gonna get started. It's a little checklist, okay? That's very important. Is that you keep up a good work ethic on the field to improve your skills. Before we talk any more about these other things, improving your quality on the field and as a player is going to be extremely important. Just trying to go to play college soccer without trying to improve yourself as a player is going to make it tough because college coaches are going to want good student athletes, but you need to be someone who's working on your game, always trying to get better all the time. So however you are good now, you're going to need to be better and even better once you do get to college. So having the right attitude, improving as a player is always going to be key. Okay. Maximizing your opportunities in the classroom is always extremely important. If you hear someone say, oh, this player is going to get opportunities, it doesn't matter how good of a student they are, that's rare. Okay. You might have that in more of your college revenue sports of basketball and football, where some athletes may not be quite as good of students and may get some good scholarships. But for most sports, including soccer, your academics really can help you a lot more than hurt you, obviously. So the academics are very important. Okay. You're going to want to create and update a player profile that you can send to college coaches. This is going to be key. We're going to go over these things later. And you want to be able to create a highlight video that college coaches can access. This is becoming more important every day, every year. It's almost becoming a standard type thing that you have video that you use. And really, with the COVID situation we're in, it's becoming very necessary. Okay. Now, whenever you do communicate with a college coach, it's going to be important that you always include your high school graduation year. I have example 2021. For most of you, it'd be 2022 or 2023. College coaches, when they have rules that they have to abide by, and if you're too young, they're not going to be able to communicate with you, and they don't want to get in any violation, any college rules of communicating to prospective students too early. So if you don't say what year you're going to graduate from high school, you may not get a response at all because they don't want to risk being an NCAA violation. Okay. For most colleges that are at the NCAA level, they can communicate with you at June 15th before your junior year. Okay. Now,
I-
for most of the people on this call, you're okay. And if you've heard about players that commit before that date, it's often there's communication that's done through a third party, say a club coach, or that player went to that specific school's camp, or they visited that school and were on their campus. But it's nothing that was the communication was done directly before that date. So, and if you have questions about that, you can. It's kind of tricky, and a lot of coaches will use club and high school coaches to somewhat act as third party communicators. Okay, we've got a little case study here. It actually will involve one of our Sporting Missouri Valley club coaches, Manny Tovar. And I was fortunate enough to coach Manny when he was a youth player. He played on the KC Pace team I coached. I was very successful, and Manny was obviously a part of that success. So Manny's currently coaching Sporting Missouri Valley youth coach, and he's the head coach at Truman High School as well. So we're going to take a look back to 2004 to 2006 when he was a college prospect. Okay. Now, when I coached Manny back then, this was Manny, and I have permission. He said I could show this. This was Manny Tovar's profile that was actually available on the internet, and also something that, as his club coaches, we would hand out, or a team manager would hand out to college coaches that would come watch us. So what this profile did, and this is a good profile, is kind of like one just to sample off of, and this is what Manny had. And I believe, before his senior year, during his junior year, this is what was available. He had his name, his contact information, his club, team, high school, graduation year. Manny had a 3.82 GPA, and he was taking his ACT on June 12th, 2005. So, and then it said some credentials that he had. It has a individual picture of him, and it has an action shot of him as well. Now, these are just kind of a basic thing that's good to have, so that college coaches, when they get it, they know how to reach Manny, and they know what he looks like, and they get a little bit of information. If they really want more information, they can obviously find it, but it's just something to do with him. And he had continued outstanding credentials after this as well. If someone were to ask, well, what if I don't have those type of credentials? What should I do? It's really fine if you just, Manny was an ODP regional team player and had a lot of success. But even if you don't have great individual success, you can talk about some team success. You can talk about a really good tournament you had, a good result that you had. You can talk about a great game that you played. Anything is just so that the college coach can get a little bit of feel of who this person is. Okay. Now, Manny would have sent out emails to a lot of college coaches. And when he did, he probably sent out something like this. This is a sample one that feel free to copy this and literally do it exactly if you want to. This is really the most important thing is just to get started. So this one is, and I've got things covering up my screen a little bit, but this one is John Smith. Uh-oh, what did I do? This one's John Smith. This is an example. If you send an email, it says, Dear Coach X, my name is John Smith. I'm currently a junior 2021. Again, this is last year at Fountain High School near Kansas City, Missouri, and play club soccer for Sporting Missouri Valley. I'm very excited about playing college soccer in Show Me University, and Show Me Soccer is a program that could be a good fit. Obviously, those are fictionalized. Okay. I say personalized. Personalized is if you had a relative that went to that specific school, or if that school has a particular major that you know you're very interested in, if you've been to their camp before, if you have gone and seen their games online or in person, or if you have a friend or a high school teammate that is currently on that team as well, go ahead and include that. That type of information is valuable. A college coach is going to get a lot of these emails. I mean, like 100 a day practically, and they're going to try and read all of them. But if there's something specific that is that's personal, that's relatable to what they currently are around or they can relate to, they're going to have more interest in. Attached is my player profile and a link to my video. I will keep you up to date with my schedule. Please let me know if there's a good time for me to visit campus and speak with you or your staff. Looking forward to your response. Go show me. Now, again, fictionalized John Smith has what high school and what year he's going to graduate. It's good to repeat that. And phone number and email address. Now, it doesn't matter what level, Division I, Division II, Division III, NAIA, or junior college that you want to communicate with. This simple email is just a basic introduction that you need to do with the college coach. It doesn't matter what school it is. It's just basically saying, here I am. And then it's up to the college coach if he or she wants to look into it further and investigate it. Okay. Then we have a video, which is a small video of Manny, but he didn't have video back in the day. But if he did, really, if you can make a 2 to 4 minute video of highlights, it's a good thing. And there's a lot of different companies that can help, and really everyone, even with their own camera, can probably make a pretty good video.
Yeah.
People have asked me before, well, I don't have a great video, or I don't have a lot of game footage, or the game footage I have is really bad. What should I do? And this is the truth. If you go out in your backyard or to a local park and literally take video of you dribbling, shooting, running and shooting together,
Yep.
and literally it's a minute video, that's going to be something. Okay. And hopefully then with your schedule, the college coach can make an effort to come see you, but at least you're giving them a little bit of what you're like. Obviously, if you have a lot of video, that's great to provide. But for some people that have nothing, I've recruited good players. I'm glad I recruited based off of just small video and good recommendation. And I could see that this makes sense what I'm looking at. I want to see a little bit more.
Could I chime in real fast?
Yeah.
This coming spring, if we do stay with Sporting Missouri Valley, we're going to start talking about doing VDR for every single game. So then parents can kind of go in and cut out different sections or different moments within their individual player to post and build a college video that way if necessary. So
right.
Just want
and
to
the
put that out.
technology now, it's amazing how you can do that sort of stuff is awesome. So going back to Manny had recruiting contact with many programs, including Dayton, UMKC, Syracuse, Xavier, Missouri State, Birmingham, Southern, Bowling Green, IUPUI, Loyola, Chicago, Northern Illinois, DePaul, probably a lot more. He was an outstanding player. He was a 1988 birth year, and he was in two-time regional pool player, which means Manny was considered one of the top 40 1988 birth dates in the Midwest, a 14-state area. So those on the right are actually some of the actual emails that people sent me that we were in contact with some schools about him. Okay, and after all those schools that he had communication with, Mandy ended up going to William Jewell College, which wasn't on that list. Okay. Manny chose William Jewell, and he had an outstanding season at William Jewell. Manny's freshman year, I was a coach actually at William Jewell at that time, and we went to the Final Four his freshman year. We're number one in the computer rankings. Or his sophomore year, we were ranked number one in the country for 2 or 3 weeks. And his senior year, he was first team all conference. At the end of his college career, he actually played one exhibition game with the Kansas City Wizards, now Sporting KC. He played really well. That's me with him after the game, so I was proud. Okay, now regarding the club, Graham Zusi, who plays with Sporting KC, just staying with the club's theme a little bit. Graham was in high school in Orlando, Florida. He was recruited to the University of Maryland. Sporting drafted Graham, and now he's still with the team. Roger Espinoza, who Roger started in the game yesterday, was the captain of the game for Sporting. He went to he was born in Honduras and went to high school in Colorado. He went to junior college at Yavapai in Arizona. After junior college, he went to Ohio State, and then he was drafted by the Wizards. And this is a dated thing because Matt Beasley is no longer on Sporting. He was the captain of Sporting last year. Matt's a local player, went to Blue Valley West High School, went to Notre Dame in Indiana, and then he was drafted by Sporting, by Kansas City Wizards, actually. So there's a lot of different players currently in Major League Soccer and Sporting Kansas City that obviously benefited, that went to college soccer and benefited from it, and then later turned out to be pros. Okay, ACT testing update. Okay, now this obviously is old. Now there's actually you guys may have heard about the somewhat new news that the NCAA is not requiring certain test scores for standardized tests in order to be eligible. Usually there's a sliding scale. There used to be, you had to have a certain ACT score, SAT score to be eligible. Then they had a sliding scale with your GPA and ACT combined. And that's what they have had. And because of COVID and difficulty for some people of taking standardized tests, the NCAA did not require them for, I believe, this year or next year. Now, that being said, I'm sure all of you that are on the call, players and parents, may have taken the ACT or SAT, or if you haven't, you will take it soon. I always recommend that recruits take the ACT at least 3 times, really, because even though it may not be eligible, or may not be required to be eligible to play NCAA soccer, the schools that you're applying to may require it to be accepted by their school or to qualify for certain academic scholarships that school may offer. And obviously, if you want to qualify for scholarships, and often the ACT is what you need to do for it, for a lot of schools have that. So if you take it, unless you scored a perfect 36 the first time you took the ACT, I really recommend you sign up for it and take it at least 3 times. Usually by that 3rd time, you know where you're at, and depending on what type of school you're trying to go or get into, or academic scholarships that could be available, if you need to take it a 4th time. So whenever you can take it, take it. It's the best thing. And usually schools will accept your best score when it comes to scholarships. So even if you took it the first time and scored a 31, and the next time you take it, you score a 29, the school will usually honor the higher score for the scholarship. So you really don't have a lot to worry about. Okay, now this is about the recruiting, that NCAA schools had a recruiting freeze because of COVID. And actually, ironically, this says Division II, May 31st. I think it's going to be back open again. Believe it or not, they have been unable to recruit off campus for a year. And I believe June 1st is when it opens up. So if you're wondering, how are these college programs in NCAA Division I, Division II, how are they recruiting? Well, really, it's a lot by phone call, word of mouth, and it's video. Video has been enormous. Here it's now obviously you don't need to have the production value to have a camera like that, but that's a pretty nice camera. But the soccer videos are becoming more important all the time. It's almost becoming expected that you have one. Here it says, make sure your video includes contact info and high school graduation year. I wrote this, by the way, this is mine. That's not my picture, but video can be individual, 2 to 3 minutes of skill running, shooting, movement while running and shooting. And you can upload your video on YouTube. So YouTube's really easy and it's great because almost everyone has access to it. There's some videos, I mean, you might be able to make it private and then give some coaches the code, but really you're going to want as many people have access to it as possible. So you want so coaches can easily access it and then find it again. Send your player profile to college coaches with a link and info on where your video can be found. Okay, now a year ago, I asked some college coaches to talk and give a few words that could be on the Zoom call, but could say things. And I'm sure these college coaches, what they're saying then applies to what's going on now. So the first coach is my twin brother, Lincoln Robley, head coach of Benedictine College. He said, I want players to reach out with words that express interest in not just college generally, but specifically Benedictine College. We need short video that highlights all the players' qualities, include grad year, ACT, GPA, possible academic interests, as well as off-field leadership, character info, and club and high school contact info. Be prepared to communicate through technology. Have fun with the process. Now, I've said it before, but that's really true. The best line of all of what Lincoln said, it's all good, is have fun with the process. You know, you really go through this only one time, and it is a lot of fun. And you get to really find out about colleges and research colleges, which ones you think would be a good fit for yourself, and then reaching out to the college coaches and seeing if the college coaches think you might be a good fit for their program as well. The school is really important as well as the soccer program. So you need to have interest in all of them. Okay, next one is Chris Sissel, head coach at women's soccer at Grand Canyon University. Grand Canyon is a NCAA Division I school in Phoenix, Arizona. Chris, I used to coach with him at William Jewell College, and he moved on to UMKC. Now he's at Grand Canyon. They just lost in their conference semifinal a couple days ago. They had a really good year. He said, due to coronavirus, student athletes are no longer competing at college, and college coaches do not have the ability to go out and watch recruit players or even invite student athletes to visit campus for official or unofficial visits. So at this time, it's very important for the student athletes to be proactive and to be sending college coaches emails with all pertinent information, short highlight video for those coaches be able to watch and evaluate. College coaches currently have more free time than they have ever had. So there's a perfect opportunity to try and reach out to the college coaches and start a conversation and build a relationship. Take initiative, be proactive. College coaches want to hear from you, student athlete, not just your parents. Again, great words. Chris has some really good points there, but being proactive is super important. And that means sending out emails, giving updates to the coaches. Now, when you send an email, even if you don't get a response back, it's okay to send another email or the exact same email 2 weeks later. Even if they didn't get a response, that's okay. Remind them of who you are. It doesn't, if they have to delete the email, it takes them 2 seconds. It's worth it, no big deal. They may have stored it, they may get back to it later, but being proactive is important. And when he says he wants to hear from you, he means the student athlete, not just your parents. It's a bit of a turnoff, actually, when you get an email from a parent. Now the parent could have written the email. We all know that happens, and that's okay. All right. But so parents, feel free to edit some emails. It needs to come from the player because you want, as a college coach, you want to know that the player wants it. It's nice if the parents want it, but you're not going to be coaching the parents, and the players are going to be the ones doing the action at practice on the field and in the classroom. So it needs to really come from the players. Okay. Next one is Ryan Poor. He's the new men's coach at UMKC. Their season just ended. Ryan says, I think the biggest thing is to reach out. There's no wrong or right way to do it. Just be proactive in the process. We are finding more and more that the international player is contacting us more than the domestic player. I believe too many Americans are taking the process for granted and believe the college will come calling. They need to be proactive and persistent about the process, and usually good things happen if they're talented enough. Ryan's totally right. Ryan is, by the way, he's from Ohio. He played at the University of Tulsa, not when I was there, but later Ryan was a phenomenal player playing MLS as well. But you need to be proactive. Uh, the college game is getting more international all the time. At Kansas City, Kansas Community College, when I got there, we had one international player. And then I recruited another international player. And they're both very good players. And tomorrow, I have another call with an international player. And the teams we play against in junior college are 50% international players. Okay. And they're good. And they definitely want it because they're contacting us like crazy. Now, obviously, there's a lot of good American players as well. But the college coach is just trying to get the best team he can get. And it's a big world. There's lots of competition out there in America and abroad. So you need to definitely don't take for granted just because you might be a good player in your neighborhood. There's a whole world that really you're competing with. So you've got to be active. If you are and you're good, then you're going to get some opportunity, like Ryan said. Okay, Burke Slusher, he's the assistant coach at Kansas City, Kansas Community College, which is where I coach now. I coach on the women's side. Burke said, this could be a big year for U.S. citizens in every league, junior college, NAI, NCAA. Any video would be helpful. Definitely need an email that includes height, weight, position, and all contact info. Email, mobile number, home number. Include your current club team and high school attended, and you need to be able to make a decision in a couple of days if a spot is offered. Scholarships for the fall may be less than in the past. Kids need to be prepared for that. Okay, now, at the time, there's a lot of uncertainty in college, not only on the athletic side, but also on the academic side. A lot of colleges weren't sure what the enrollment was going to be at schools and how they were going to handle the classroom, whether it was going to be video or in person or not. So still schools are kind of adjusting to that as far as budgets and how they're dealing with the new college, you could say, how that is. Okay. All right, Justin Olson, he's just finished his first year at Drury University. They're around 500 their first year. He's the women's coach there. Justin says, right now have some sort of film, highlights or full game is going to be critical for recruits I have not seen play. We've been doing FaceTime/Skype calls with recruits since we cannot meet with them in person for a while. Having something ready to show coaches along with their club coaches being accessible for a reference call on that prospect is crucial. Okay. Now, this is something that COVID is probably changing the way we do things in a lot of our daily activities. And one of the things that is changing is almost put recruiting in fast forward and putting a bigger importance in video. So some events are now making things to where you can access them via video in case there's travel restrictions involved. And so you need to be able to communicate with video whenever. And obviously you were very well versed in it because on the fly, we did this meeting on the fly quickly as well. So Christy, that was part of our master plan.
It was totally there.
So, themes, take initiative, video, have player video, have a video that coaches can access. Okay. Now, here's something else. Now, I said this, and I think we are getting back to normal. So it's still good to be alert to this, but don't let COVID-19 slow your process down. Educate yourself with videos, and colleges provide their websites on YouTube. Video tours can be found online, and although in-person on-campus visits are off limits for now, which I think almost every school does have access now, you may be able to set up a meeting with a coach via Zoom. But that's something that if you're interested in a school and you don't want to travel 500 miles away because it's somewhat inconvenient, almost all of these schools now provide video tours on their own websites, or you can find them on YouTube. So that right there is Washington University in St. Louis. Is a great school, and they have a great NCAA Division III program as well. So if you want to be able to go to a school without visiting in person, sometimes you can do that. A little bit easier these days. Okay, we kind of got a little bit of that in fast forward. Do we have any questions right now? And hopefully we have a lot of them. Okay, and if there's anything, a lot of things I didn't cover, feel free to ask. So sock it to me. I know how to reverse this.
Anyone?
I have a question.
There
All
you
right, let's
go.
go.
Do like coaches, do they go like out of their way and like look at your social media accounts?
Yes, every one of them. They're going to check them every time, and just expect that. I have not recruited a player because of her social activity or social media activity on there. The college coaches are going to look for red flags as much as we are positive things. So if you have any issues with your social media account, you should clean it up and just expect people. I mean, they may say they don't, but everyone is going to do it. They're going to look at,
Yeah.
if you have some, just activity or behavior that doesn't seem great.
Even if it's just a classic, I'm turned 21 and I've got a beer in my hand on the social media account.
Yeah, even jokes.
It's
jokes that
definitely
you think
definitely
are-
thought upon.
Yeah, you'd rather just stay away from that, obviously.
Right.
So I know we
And
have
that's a great
nothing but,
question, Claire, by the way.
yeah, we have the most upstanding citizens I know at Sporting Missouri Valley, but still, it's one of those
No, but
things.
you got to think, when you get into college, of course, the opportunities and the gates and the doors are always there to be open. And you've got to not only represent yourself as a person, but represent everything that you want to bring to the table, to also be a humble person within the club and the team and everything that you're trying to be. So if anything's trying to negative or be looked upon as a negative is definitely going to be something that the coaches will see, and they could totally be like, well, this player's got skill, but her socialization is way too much. So we need to maybe look to another player because she can definitely bring a better name to our team.
Right. And being Christy, when she means humble, she means all the right way. But it is still when you have your player profile, it is an opportunity to brag. And if
Yeah.
you do have something that you are proud of, go ahead and put it in there. Even if you won an academic award, if you're president of a club at school, go ahead and include that in there. Some coaches will want players who can be leaders, who are intelligent, who can be social, who can lead. So if you have things that aren't even soccer related but are positive, go ahead and include it in there. I like seeing those type of things.
Hey, Jefferson. So as far as posting videos, is YouTube the best option for the girls to set up their link?
I think it's probably the best just because it's the most accessible for college coaches. So if you say my video's on YouTube and find Emma Gervey
Here's the account.
there, it's going to be easy for them to find. And then here's another thing: when you do make a video, it just seems obvious, but you don't need to show yourself messing up. Okay, you just for your sake, for the coach's sake, he wants to see the good and the bad. But you really need to just show your good points, and you also don't need to show someone else who's doing really well. I've recruited players based off someone else's video. But when they look at the video, just because you said to them doesn't mean they can't recruit someone else who looks good in that video. So you want to make sure you keep it to yourself. And when you shoot video, you really want it to be pretty tight. I mean, you want it to be to where it's the player that's being shown plus 15 or 20 yards. You don't need to see the picture from the space shuttle or the moon, where we don't care about the tactical nest. We're just recruiting one player. So they want to see you move and your touch and if you're looking up, those type of things. So if you say I'm this little micro dot here, that doesn't help. You want something that almost would look like if you were watching a professional game on TV, where it's relatively close. You can't see the stands a whole lot. That's good. And some coaches will say they want to see 90 minutes of footage. That's okay. But if you've got a 4-minute highlight video, that's going to be really good too.
If you can clump things in, would it be beneficial as a coach to maybe, gosh, I don't know, like maybe help video ties? I know if we do VDR, when it comes to the games, it's going to be more of like the above the, scenes kind of stand, so
Right?
if parents don't do that, and me as a coach, should I maybe think about assigning or talking to someone to do individual, like per practice maybe, or per game?
Yeah, it's not a bad thing to do, just to have it somewhat up close, just because you get a little different perspective. So if you are close, it's not a bad thing. Having
Right.
a lot of the technology that's out there can be for the coaches, and for the coaches, you want high with a big wide screen so you can see everyone at once. That's good for coaches and team development often, but not always the best for individual player highlights.
Right.
So, it's a little bit of both. So but video is obviously important. Okay, a couple other points is really everyone should really make a list of 10 to 20 schools that you could be interested in. Okay.
Mhm.
And if someone says, I know where I'm going to go to North Carolina, I'm going to go to Notre Dame, I'm going to go to Stanford. Well, so do I'm going to go to KCK Community College. I have to throw them in because everyone in the world wants to go to those schools, and most colleges, especially if it's the 4-year schools, they're going to recruit 6 to 8 players a year, maybe. Okay, and they're going to have a lot of players to pick from. But if you want it and you're good and you're academically strong, that they need to be able to realize that and recognize it. You've got to push yourself a little bit. Even the best players in Kansas City for the past 10 years have still had to promote themselves a little bit. So
Mhm.
it always helps, at least to get to one of the schools that they're really interested in. So some people have asked, well, let's say I want to go to Stanford or wherever. Well, if you want to send them an email, that's no big deal. That's fine. It's just going to be awfully hard to, one, get into the school, and two, be on their soccer team. But it's still not a bad thing to try. Sending an email to them is no big deal. It's just that don't expect to always have great and immediate responses with great news from every school you contact. If you do, then you're a phenomenal student and a phenomenal player. So, but the key is to look at a whole bunch of different schools. I would not be too married to one classification. Like if you say, I'm only going to play D1, only going to play D2 or D3 junior college. We have players at the junior college I'm at right now, and we have a very good program that will go NCAA Division I, Division II, and NAIA, and they're all very, very good players. But they're going to schools that fit them academically as well as soccer-wise. So, in college soccer, there are very good teams at every level. College football, because they're allowed so many scholarships, you could say there's a bigger discrepancy from Alabama, and you could say in a lower level college football team, but that's because they have 85 full scholarships that they can give out. Whereas in college soccer, you don't have as many scholarships to get out, so all the talent can't be hoarded by just a few schools. There's great college programs at every level.
Mhm. And so when another questions for you, sorry, Jefferson, just to like explain to the group, it's okay to not search for a soccer program within the school, but to maybe think more towards the educational approach and then the second part of soccer, because I know a lot of coaches sit there and say, you're a student athlete, to where if you can't promote the grades and the GPA, there's a lot of time you won't see playing time. Or if you're trying to go to a D1 school because they have the best soccer program, can your educational abilities match what they're asking for in that program? So it's always great to be just realistic, and it's okay to start off at community college because the first 2 years is nothing but an associate's.
Oh,
Correct?
yeah. And it's, junior college now is, the quality is very good. And I was, I was talking with a Division I coach for a couple hours today about some players that he's interested on our current team. And for those players, the junior college path was the perfect path for them. So,
Yeah. They become well-rounded players. They learn the whole college level when it comes to playing. They actually get a lot of playing times and they're successful in school. So it's a smart all around play. So it's
Yeah.
okay to not dream too big, right?
well,
Right.
here's the good thing. The earlier you start, there's no reason why you can't try anything.
Yeah, yeah,
And you might find out that your dream school is a school that you didn't hear about until 2 weeks from now.
right.
And that's the exciting part, and probably what, when Lincoln was talking about, it's a fun process, is looking into schools that you might have interest in because of the weather or the campus or their academic opportunities and their soccer program. Looking into that is a lot of fun, and there are a lot of very good options out there for students. So looking into it's a lot of fun, and then you get to make a visit and communicate with the coach and see what it's all about. Another thing that we didn't talk about, and none of the college coaches from the presentation were talking about at the time, because a year ago none of these were allowed because of COVID, is the ID camps that you'll hear about all the time.
All the time.
College programs talk about ID camps. The ID is for identification. And basically what ID camps are often 1-day camps that for some schools almost serves almost like a tryout, like a showcase. So you can go to their camp and pay $100 to $150 for basically 4 hours of playing and finding out about their school. Almost every college has an ID camp now. And to be honest, back in the day, some colleges would have college camps where they charge, $400 to $600 for a 4-day camp. And, after 2 hours, the coach may not be big on that recruiting. The recruit isn't big on that campus. And then you spend $600 and have 4 more days when you can tell it's not going to work out. Here, if you do go to multiple ID camps, you do get a decent feel of what the campus is like, what the college coach is like. And although if you go to a few of them, it can be a bit pricey, my opinion is it actually is worth it to do it. So it's a little bit give and take. But if the college coach that the college you're interested in, if their college coach for whatever reason can't see you play in person, and that coach says they want to see you play in person, but for some reason it doesn't work out, let's say it could be far away, and they don't just trust video, they want to see you in person, going to them and going to their ID camp for 1 day can usually it's a lot better than nothing. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. And I think Jefferson and I are going to be talking a little bit more and just kind of figure out as college camps that will be beneficial for our girls here on the Missouri side. And of course, if you want to extend elsewhere and go outside Missouri, please ask us for your opinion, or for our opinion, more so Jefferson's. But we are here to help set you up, and anything you all need, make sure you reach out and ask us, and we're going to do our best to further benefit you all when it comes to doing some videos, some I guess short clips, and if any editing needs help, all that fun stuff. But it sounds like from the gist of it, it's just making sure you're prepared and reaching out to those coaches that you're interested in with a full-on background, and they are interested in your height, your weight, your birth year, your GPA, all that stuff. So yes, are you a solid physical player, but also are you a mental player, not just on the field, but also in the academics?
they're also the college coaches are going to want to have positive players in their team. And
Which
Uh,
we are, man. That is eclipse right there.
So
Sorry.
it really is important that when you do go on a college visit, when you do go to a college camp, and you do talk to a head coach or an assistant coach at college, you do want to be positive about your experiences because when I've met with players and then they're negative on their high school coach or club coach or players that they played with or past players, it really
Uh,
just comes off. I mean, even if they don't, a lot of the time the coaches that have helped them along the way or players that they've been teammates with, it doesn't it doesn't help being negative on anyone. It really is just a big red flag.
yeah.
Even if there could be some valid points that you're making, it doesn't help. So you want to be positive because you're going to have some of those teammates or players maybe you didn't like playing with or against. Well, they may be your teammates coming up. They may be other players that that college coach is currently recruiting, and he wants obviously players that get along. So
That are open-minded, right?
very open-minded. A little update on the club scene on the U19 Sporting Missouri Valley team. The players on that team that are going to play college soccer next year, Abby Peterson is going to go to Simpson College, which is an NCAA Division III school in Iowa. Ashley Knox is going to play junior college soccer at Metropolitan Community College, Maple Woods, Blue River. They all combine their efforts for that. Austin Burning is going to Buena Vista, which is a Division III school in Iowa. Casey Brown is going to Benedictine College. My brother coaches. Chloe Tays is going to, which is NAI school. Chloe Tays is going to Evangel, which is in Springfield, Missouri, NAI school. Gabby Lopez is going to go play at KCK Community College. Jenna Jordan is going to Adams State in Colorado, which is NCAA Division II school. Catalina Lopez is going to Stevens College, which is in Columbia, Missouri, which is an NAI school. Kylie Loy playing at Park University, NAI school. Maddie Beckman is going to go play at Evangel with Chloe, NAI school in Springfield, Missouri. McKenna Peters is going to go play at Benedictine College, my brother coaches, NAI school. And Rand Taleb is going to go to KCK Community College, where I coach. And so
Wow.
Rand and Gabby. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 10. Oh, yeah, 1, 2, 8, 9, 10, 11. I believe 12 players are going to go on from the
Players.
U19s to play college soccer next year, which I'm very proud of. And I know those players are really excited about the future as
Heck
well.
yeah. And
So,
those players also came to our club this year, and we were, or excuse me, you were Division III. So it 100% stands that colleges don't care what division you play for, as long as the communication efforts are visibly there for them in their school, right? Like,
well, the division thing, I mean, it doesn't matter
it's nothing.
because college coaches aren't recruiting teams; they're recruiting individuals. So
Right.
they're going to find talent no matter where it is. And that U19 team played state cup as well, had a great state cup run. And but they're going to recruit individuals, players that can help them be good teammates and grow as players and people. And I think those players will obviously do well with their opportunity. So it's
I
exciting.
guess.
So
Yes.
but those players, they had to work for it. They communicated with coaches. They made visits. They're good students. And so they're obviously they had to work for it too. So good for them.
I guess. Would there be any other questions from our 4 joining families? No?
Here's the
Okay.
thing, if you've got a question, you'll probably think of one after this meeting is over. Don't hesitate to email me
Shoot them
or
a
send me
message.
a text. Don't hesitate. You know where to reach me. So there will be strange situations that come up, or you'll get an email about a camp and you're saying, is this a camp for me? Is this sent out to everyone? I emailed a coach, he or she hasn't gotten back with me. What does that mean? If you need someone to connect with the college coach to say, hey, are they interested or not? Or we don't hesitate to contact me for that sort of stuff. So it happens all the time. College coaches are very busy. Right now, the college coaches are busy with their seasons. NCAA Division I just finished their conference seasons. The national tournament selection shows are going to be Monday. Division 2 and Division 3 are not having national championships this year. NAIA, my brother's team actually just lost in the first round of the national tournament, but their final destination is next week. And junior college, we're finished. We're in the middle of our regular season right now. We will have a national championship, and that won't be complete until I believe the first week in June. So there's a lot of college coaches that have been very busy the past few months with their actual season that they didn't know they were going to have actually in the fall, that many of them got postponed to the spring. So the next month or so is when a lot of college programs, if they're not already active, will get a lot more active with their recruiting.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jefferson, for taking this time. And that, I think that PowerPoint was amazing. I don't think we could have like given that type of like information actually in person. Now they can go back and review it. So thank you. And thank you to everyone that like took the
Thanks,
time to
Christy.
come out and to hang out with us in Jefferson. I say us, like, well, me and Jefferson, but yeah, reach out to him or me, and then we'll just see you all when it comes next fall. Does that
Thanks,
sound good?
everybody.
Okay, thanks, guys. Good luck in your high school season.
Keep in touch,
Bye.
everybody.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
sir. Bye.
Yeah.